I'm exhausted. Working in the backyard in the night, cutting down a popcorn tree, Chinese tallow, junk trees. Awful. Somebody brought them over. And they're in the South all over. They breed like roaches. They drop these seed pods that can go in the ground, and evidently they can stay in the ground for years, like 10 years, I think. And you can't kill these damn things. You pull them up, they'll come back. You cut them down, they come back. So, and they grow extremely fast. They're actually not bad looking of a tree. It's just they're worthless. You can't burn them. You can't. Bees evidently like them. And they say, oh, well, you could get tallow from them. It's a Chinese tallow tree. Well, no, they have to be at least 100 years old before you can get any tallow. They do grow fast. I can give them that. Poison ivy and poison oak, love them. I mean, love them. Love climbing up that bark. That's the reason why I'm in this Walmart parking lot to get some. I got everything out there, but I had no poison ivy scrub, so I had to get some. I used Dawn dish soap. I hope that works. I'm gonna go home and wash again in this thing because I get that so bad. But because I was chopping down this tree at night, and I had it all cut right. I can't find my wedges. Can't find the wedges. So right then, I can't find anything in my shed because of Sally. Sally's still just destroyed so much and stuff. So I'm just repairing and rebuilding and just doing everything I can, and then everything that Sally pretty much took out, I'm just gonna, I'm reusing it as much as I can. Everything else I'm just destroying. I'm just throwing it out. Fuck it, burning it. That fucking storm just messed up everything. But anyway, I cut the tree. I know right where the first one I cut down. I was like, I know, it went exactly where I was trying to get it. The second one I cut down went exactly where I was doing it. The third one, the big one, I have to get it right at this angle because if it goes this way, it takes out the power lines of the neighbors. Oh, terrific. It has to go this way. It has to go at an angle, a 45-degree angle to the road. And it was going that way. And then the saw tip, I didn't pull it out fast enough. And the tree is so wet. They're so wet inside and mushy that it slid to the right and trapped about this much on the blade. This much. But the whole tree is wedged on this much of a saw blade, of a chainsaw. And it was not budging. Because in the top, there's so many vines. I spent 8 hours in like an area no more than 6 feet by 6 feet trying to clear it out. These woods are so thick with vines and saw palmettos, which I like, which I'm good with. The only problem was the one was right by the popcorn tree, and the big one. And every time I was trying to cut it, and it was slapping me back in the face, and I was moving it and trying to put it. And I couldn't stand but in one position, to have an escape route, and then it would come back. Anyway, it's hanging. It's not. There's nothing holding it except for that much of a saw blade, and it's hanging at an angle. And when it falls, it's gonna land right smack dab in the middle of the road if it doesn't take out the power lines. So I'm gonna be so fucked if it does. If it takes out the power lines and I get charged for that, which I will be, even the neighbor's going to hate me, but if I get charged for that, then there ain't no way. I'll never be able to. I can't afford this. It's like that one little bit. It's like it's always something. And it wouldn't have been operating in the night had one screw not fallen out of the chainsaw, one of the screws holding it on. I couldn't. It's one thing after the other. The little tool that comes with the chainsaw. That little tool, they paint it black. Why would you do that? You may as well paint it olive drab. Why would you do that? So, I have learned through experience, always get a can of yellow or blaze orange spray paint. Spray paint anything that you're going to ever use outside, orange or yellow. I've learned red doesn't really work. For some reason, I've learned that red will kind of fade and you can throw it out and you can kind of see it, but it doesn't show up like orange and yellow. Get something orange and yellow. Spray paint that shit. I did not do it to this tool. I don't know where I put it. It's gone forever. And I'll never find it again. Somewhere in that yard. I'll find it in the tire, of course. So I didn't have that. So I had to get. I couldn't tighten it down. I couldn't tighten the screws down. Try to crescent wrench it because the way the plastic's molded, crescent wrenches are worthless. You can't use it. So you have to use a socket wrench. Well, these things are too close to one another. I couldn't get a socket wrench in there. So I had to just use a pair of pliers and go up like this because I didn't have that one tool, that one part. Well, I didn't get that tightened down, evidently enough. So it fell out, and then as I'm using it, the whole blade and everything fell off and fell apart. The plastic thing and everything. Because one screw fell out, and I didn't ever find that one. I did find the other one, and the whole thing just fell apart. Because I didn't have that tool that comes with it. The tightening tool. So I had to go buy another one. And I had to buy the screws, and so I bought all that, and that took up. By the time I got there and back again, it was 2 hours. The sun was going down, and I'm flustered because I want to get this shit done. I got work to do. I got to get this done, and so that's the result. The result of not enough daylight, not enough, or losing that one tool, that one part, and then everything just cascades from there. For loss of a nail, like that old saying. When I had my sailboat, somebody broke into it and stole my bag of tools. And in that bag of tools, I had tools that, because I worked in the boatyard, I had tools that are so obscure that they're only used on certain parts of boats and certain areas and everything. And after that had happened, I felt, totally violated, basically. How about this sanctuary of this place I have is gone. And I never felt the same on that boat ever again. I ended up selling it. Took a massive loss. But every time I tried to grab a tool or something, I never had it. Because you never do. You know your tools and you have all your stuff. And any man that steals another man's tools, I'm sorry, that man, another man, a so-called man, that steals, robs a working man's tools to go take them to your pawn shop to get your little fix, because you think you need them and he doesn't. If the grid or any of that shit was to ever go down, and if I knew who that was, I would not hesitate. Not 1 minute. Because somebody like that is not worthy of walking on the fucking planet. That's the way I feel about it. You don't steal another man's livelihood. That is the thing. Because again, that's a cascading effect. It's like the cop. I knew a cop that was always pulling over. He called HV mobiles, poor people's vehicles. He'd sit outside of the trailer parks and stuff, pull over the trashiest cars because he knew they probably couldn't afford insurance, or they couldn't, or he could find violations in the car, or this headlight or this tail light or all this kind of shit, and he'd stick it to them. And I worked at the sheriff's all this time, so I told him about that one. I said I deliberately wanted to go talk to that guy, so we were talking. I was like, why do you do that? He's like, well, I'm guaranteed to get get arrest out of it. I'm guaranteed to get, violations out of it. I was like, they don't have any money. What happens when you pull them over? Their insurance goes up. They can't afford what they got, if they even have it. They're trying to do the best. How do you know that they're not trying to do the best that they can with what they got? You know what happens if you give somebody like that a $120 fucking ticket? You know what happens? Well, that's like $120. Well, that's the insurance payment, or that's their kids' food, or that's their kids' clothes, or that's their the car repairs. That's electric bill. The lights went out. That means I'm supposed to stop. I'm going to go just a little bit further. But anyway, I just told him all this. I was like, it's it's that one thing, and that one thing to somebody that doesn't have much money is devastating. And why don't you instead go to the rich people's neighborhood, which I can tell you, you go to this, and I told him the name of the road. You go to that road, because a friend of mine lived there and he's always speeding. You go to that road at night instead, and you go and you park at this location, and you will find so many cars speeding. You want to talk about arrests and violations? That's where you need to go. I was like, I'm telling you. And giving them a $120, $150 ticket, they ain't going to give a shit. But with as fast as they drive on that fucking road, and you know what? They think that they own this place. They always say they know the sheriff and all that shit. Well, you go over there and you teach them fuckers a lesson. That's what maybe you need to do. I was like, you know, it's like just trust me. Go to Rose Creek Parkway. That's all I'll say. Rose Creek Parkway. Because they fly, especially around that corner. They come down that hill, they cut that corner, and they just fly. I was like, trust me. You'll get a lot of cars pulled over. That's what you like to do. Next night, all I heard was 10:35. He's like, man, yeah, that's a good spot. I can't believe nobody ever told me about this spot. I didn't know about it. How come nobody ever told us about these cars speeding? Because they're all in a rich neighborhood. Do you think they're going to call each other for that? No, they all like speeding on that. They all speed on that. They think, like I say, they think they own the fucking place. And then he learned to hate. He learned to hate those people. Oh my God, he learned to hate them. Because he was like, that was the best part of it. Having them scream and yell at him and say that they know they're going to get him fired, blah, blah, blah. He said he never got that from poor people. And he said he never got that from the people in the trailer parks. He never got that kind of, that hatred response. He said he just loved it. He said he just loved it. Oh, yeah, but he said, I can't stand those people now. Anyway, so that's where he went. It was good. And I guess I guess they just don't teach that kind of thinking in people's heads and some of these things. But anyway, I feel a little bit better. I'm very upset by that tree. I don't know what's going to happen in the morning if I can't get that thing. I mean, I was sawing it with the buck saw at night, and I was exhausted. But I'll try to get it off again and try to get in. I could hook up a rope, maybe. But I just hope that we don't have a big wind tonight and it falls down. I'll be thinking about it all night long. This isn't what I wanted to talk about either. I'm actually wanting to talk about other things. It sucks the other day. I had to talk to my best friend. No, he didn't have time for me. I just got things I've been holding in lately, and I can't. There's nobody to talk to that understands me, I guess, is the way I feel. Anymore, there's nobody to talk to anymore. I mean, the whole world's changed. I don't know. I just feel like there's nobody left. I feel like now every time it's a hassle or something, it just feels like everything's heavy. Like everything's just heavy, for lack of a better. Like I'm that guy in Pilgrim's Progress and just walking with that big ass burden. It's like, why the fuck am I doing this? Just take the fucking thing, throw it off. What I was going to talk about was, I guess I'll talk about next time. Good night.